Welcome back. Here's where you left off. Spoilers ahead for The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware.
The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is kind of interesting, Derek, because we were looking at this book at the beginning, like a few months ago, and when we found out that Netflix decided to make this a movie, and we were like, okay, I think it's time for us to do a fast read, and so we can review the book versus the movie. And the book itself is kind of interesting. It's all about a reporter going in, was assigned to cover a ship called Aurora Borealis, and suddenly
I thought that was a good name of the ship. That was a cool name for the ship,
right?
By the way. I thought that was a really nice name for the ship.
Yeah, and suddenly stuff started happening. But here's the interesting part of this whole thing, because we're reviewing the book version versus the movie version, and what we think about the two different mediums.
So let's just talk about the book first, because there are differences between the two. So let's just start with the book. What did you think of the book?
Okay, so the book itself was, to be honest with you, it's a typical Ruth Ware book. A lot of details, a lot of emotions, a lot of like twists and turns. Especially the way she writes things. Because this is the second book that we are reading from her, and the first book we read was 0 Days, and 0 Day was amazing. It's one of my favorite books for this year, and for this one my expectation was high, right? And when I was reading it, there was a lot of things that to be honest with you, I'm not sure if you feel the same way too, Derek. The book is her. The book it's a Ruth book, right? And the whole premise of the book is a travel reporter was invited to be part of the launch of this boutique cruise motor yacht experience thing. So we're talking about like high-end rich yacht that's catered for the
we're talking like Jeff Bezos rich here. That's where we're going on.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos rich here. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. It's all about her, because how the book actually started is she got broken into. Her house got broken into, her flat, and she was traumatized. Next, she's trying to figure out what's going on. So she went to her.
Okay, let's hold on here. Let's hold on here, buddy.
Okay.
First off, let's talk about lower stuff. Like, I had a hard time not comparing this to 0 Days because we had read it before.
I'm definitely not. No,
it's part. No, but what I'm saying is, I was thinking about it as I was reading the book. So there was a couple things. One is that the characters between those two books are very different, and I had a hard time liking Lo. I really did. She seemed to be very whiny to me, and very like the initial scene in the beginning where she gets her apartment broken into and so forth. During the entirety of the book, I was waiting for her to link that back to what was going on the boat. And that never happened. And it really irritated me at the end of the book when it didn't connect in. What it appears to be is that it was set up as this psychological trauma for her, that she was feeling traumatized, and she went through this traumatized state through the entire book, which didn't really lend well to me thinking of the character in a positive way. Most times you want to root for a character, right? You want to say, like, she like during the time when she was trying to figure out whether there was a murder or not, she admitted to herself that she didn't even know if she heard what she saw or heard what she saw or whatever. And so even that, as the reader, I'm going, do I believe you as the main character? Do I not? Are you insane? Like when the people on the crew are asking her, do you remember this correctly? Are you sure? And then miraculously later on, she would suddenly be like, I'm completely confident in my statement. And I'm like, no, this doesn't make it. You spent like
it does make sense, Derek.
You spent like, okay, you explain it to me then, buddy.
It makes a lot of sense because remember, the character was established that there's a traumatic experience happened to her before going to the boat, right? Because before she went to the boat, again, I was saying earlier, she got burglared in right? And she went to her boyfriend's place. And when she left her boyfriend's place, she made a comment that I think we should take a break. Literally, she did a Ross. They did a Ross, and what's her name's? It's a break. It's a break, right? It's a friends thing. It's a break. So she went to the ship, and when she got there, she saw her ex-boyfriend that she used to her ex-boyfriend before her current boyfriend, and the author established doubt at the beginning of the book already. That's part of the tension in this whole thing, because as you said, she did not tie in the break-in to the murder itself. To be honest with you, I was the same thing too. I was like, oh, well, hold on, is this break-in connected to the murder? If it is, wow, this goes deeper than it's supposed to be. Deeper than I thought it would be, right? But at the end, it didn't. For me, I'm not worried. I'm not mad about that, because what happened is they established a sense of Ruth Ware established a headspace where the main character Lo, supposed to be in when she got into the boat. Because remember, when she got in the boat, she was tired, she was exhausted.
No, but I'm going to give a comparison between the movie and the book. We'll go on to the movie in a bit.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is that there were serious problems in the book because of the way that the character was written, and as a reader, when I'm trying to go through and be on Lo's side, when I'm trying to be with her in the moment, when she is doubting herself and I am doubting her as the reader, it's hard to become invested in the character. Plus, there were way too many characters in this book.
Well,
I mean, there was like way too many characters. I mean, I had to start writing stuff down to try to keep track of people. It was like, what is it, Professor whatever with the candle and the. It's what it turned into, right?
It's literally, that's what it is. I think that's best to describe it. It's almost like the movie Clue. There's too many things happening. There's too many happenings. There's too many moving parts. Remember, we have the people attending the party, the launch, and the crew members, right? And for me, I totally disagree with you regarding Lo being a non-likable character, because again, like I said before, the Ruth already establish the mental state of the character at the beginning. That gives the reader the imagination of saying it. To be honest with you, Derek, Ruth Ware did her job to make you doubt everything, and she accomplished that.
Just don't. I mean, there's a difference between, like, if she had just left out that break-in in the beginning of the book and just went through the rest of the book, it would have been fine. I mean,
I disagree.
I see. The thing is, the idea is here that she places her in this mental state where she's constantly in fear. Well, you don't need to be in fear about that constantly when she's questioning the crew, when she's running around yelling at people and trying to find it. I mean, there were serious problems there, right?
It established doubt, though, Derek. It established doubt on her side.
But you want to be with her in the, like, you want to be with her. Like, even, like, sort of when Richard was questioning her and asking her all the questions. And I was like, oh, well, you're asking her all these really specific questions. Maybe you're part of this, or maybe you did this or something, right?
That's
because
the doubt.
He's very interested. That's the investigative part of it. What I'm saying to you is the investigative part is what I enjoyed. The problem is that the break-in scene had nothing to do with the book. Not a single thing to do with it.
Of course not. It's a prologue. It's like saying
putting that aside, Judah, her boyfriend, had nothing to do with the book at all. In fact, she was terrible to the poor guy.
I agree.
He had no impact. So
remember, Ben
there was
and
like
Judah
this weird
established
filler,
a connection at the end, though. You can't.
Then she was terrible to him. Even up to the point where she's like, okay, she was terrible to the guy.
Oh, I agree.
It was awful.
I agree. She's a complete jerk on the guy. The guy was being there for her the whole time, and she's a complete jerk. She's an ass, right? But at the end of the day, we're establishing here that the break-in does not establish anything in the book. It does not provide any substance, and I disagree with that one, because it provided a starting point for her mental state going into this boat. right? And
But you don't. One point is you don't need to have a weird mental state for to go in this boat.
It's
you
a
don't
mental
need
state.
that.
Remember,
You don't need that. So she needs to be anxiety driven the entire time to be able to know
anxiety is common. It's not like rare. People get anxiety. It's normal, and the character itself has it. They already established that because she takes meds in that one. She already said that I take anxiety pills with liquor. They already established it at the beginning. She tried to stop it, but she keeps going on. Remember, this whole thing was designed to provide layers of like doubt, because at the end of the day, the author did her job giving you doubt regarding what if this person's really see or heard exactly what she heard, right?
So it's a great question. Let me ask you, why did the crew not see or hear anything?
Why didn't see anything?
Why did the crew not see or hear anything?
Because they were sleeping.
What?
They're at the bottom of the ship.
No, dude. Okay, so this is one of the interesting things is that in the book, she's put in a room, assumably in the crew area or in a forward area of the ship.
Before we go there, we're missing a lot of things here.
We don't have to cover over everything. I'm just covering over the stuff that's bothering me about the book.
Okay,
right?
Let's start with that. Let's start with that. Okay, what else is bothering you?
So this is the thing. It's like you're in the front of the book. Like you're in a ship. So, and it's a big ship, but it's not like a cruise liner ship. If you start banging on doors and so forth and so on, somebody's probably going to hear you. You know what I mean? It's not like she's in some jailed in the ship. I agree. Like in the movie, they do it better. And I was going to say that in the movie, they do it better, but I'll get to that point later. But my question to you is, why doesn't the crew see or hear anything? Like at all. I mean,
no,
like
they don't. Okay.
People can move through it and so forth. I mean,
next
in the movie,
boat show, I'll bring you to the boat show in downtown Toronto, and I'll let you know which ship that you can go to, which yacht, and you can start yelling, and no one can hear you. Because I can tell you right now, the way that was done in the book, it is possible that no one can hear you down there.
So let me ask you a more basic question: why do we care about Laura? What about her makes us care about her? What is about Laura that really is great?
Okay, here's the thing about this whole thing. If you look at the book itself, the book's premise is very simple. Laura went to an assignment, went to the ship. She heard something at the next door to her ship. If you haven't been on a cruise before, you can actually hear the other person next door. They're thick, but they're not that thick. She heard someone. She knocked on. Hey, what's going on? Next thing you know, she saw someone crying. Her anxiety started kicking in. Her mental state started kicking in. It's like she doesn't know what to say. She asked for mascara. She gave it to her. She recognized what she's dressed up and all that good stuff. So that's cool. But remember, they went for dinner after. And she was drinking while taking her anxiety pills, and they don't work very well. You'll feel sleepy, you feel dizzy, you feel everything. There's a side effects to it. When she went to bed, she heard a big bang sound, loud sound, and a splashing. Remember, there's one point in the book she thought she was dreaming it, but at the same time she was hyper alert because what happened to her at home when she got burglared, right? Because when she reported it, she found that the security person and Ben, her ex-boyfriend, said, "Oh no, she's suffering anxiety. She has to take pills. It doesn't work very well from liquor." And that's when the doubts are coming in from the crew members and some of the guests. That So what you're saying to me is you have to have extreme anxiety and issues not
and so
extreme
forth
anxiety,
to recognize
Derek. We're talking about
to recognize that there's something happened in the cabin beside you. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that because at the beginning of this episode, you already established you don't like her character. Why the break-in was there? You don't need that break-in.
My actual issue was actually the break-in of it.
Hold on, Derek. This is very important that that the author established a mental state here. Right, because if she doesn't have that break-in, she just had she spent time with her boyfriend going to the ship. She's lovey-dovey with no issues. She heard a thing at the back. Oh, I'm just drunk. Who cares? Okay, let's move on. And even the author already said it. Even the character said the same thing several times. If I didn't if I just slept through it, I'm not going to know anything about this. Right? So the character has to establish something. Something had to happen to her to feel this way. Right? So when she heard those noises next door, she freaked out. She contacted security. Pardon me. She contacted security. She started doing all this stuff, trying to figure out what's happening in cabin 10. There's no one's there. That's when she's like, "Oh my gosh, did I just imagining things, or did I slept through it, or is it a dream?" That's where the self-doubt is.
You don't have to have anxiety to have those.
No, you don't
those
have to.
doubts
But
in your
remember,
head.
it's been amplified. Right, Derek, if you ever got drunk and you fell asleep and next you didn't hear anything the next day, you'd be like, "Oh, this happened last night. Did you hear anything?" "No, I was fall asleep." Have you had an experience that you haven't slept for like 4 days and next you heard one little thing, you'll be like, "Oh my God, am I dreaming? Am I seeing things? Am I hearing things?" It's
I will
exactly
bow
the
to
same
you and ask you to answer that question.
Yes, I have both. So, I've done production work that I was awake for like 3 days straight. Trust me, you feel and hear everything. Okay, and remember it
doesn't. My point is that it doesn't help to make a likable character. It doesn't necessarily mean that the way Ruth wrote it is wrong. What I mean is it doesn't help establish a character that you're necessarily rooting for. Does that make sense? Like, at what point were you rooting for Lo? Were you rooting for her the entire time? Were you doubting her during those moments where she was questioning all the crew and all that? Like, were you wondering if because of her anxiety and doing that? Like, what part of that?
Yes, I was doubting her because I was doubting her after she talked to the head of security. I'm like, okay, so your security. Remember. Because the author already established a mental state at the beginning of the book. Going into this, I'm like, I knew this is going to happen because subconsciously, I'm like, when reading it, I'm like, okay, cool. And when they start questioning, "Oh no, we don't have anybody in cabin 10. I'm like, what the hell did she heard? But she saw someone. She saw someone next door, right? They saw she physically saw someone next door.
Yeah, the mascara thing. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah,
but now everyone says, even the crew said, no one was assigned in cabin 10. The cabin 10 person did not show up. Right. So now there's doubts there. They established the author did an amazing job putting doubts in doubt. You doubted the character already in this point.
No, I wouldn't say that I doubted the character. What I doubted was the rationale of having that scene in the beginning of the book. I take a great issue with that scene in the beginning of the book. In fact, in the movie, they handle it much better, right? In the movie, they establish a connection between water and her anxiety about the water. So she still has anxiety in the movie, but it's a lot less in your face. It's more of a, hey, by the way, this happened and it could be a trigger for her and it might be the reason. In the book, you really felt like her entire mental state was nothing but hyperactive anxiety. And maybe yeah, exactly. And there was a very different tone in that way. In the movie, when we get onto the boat, they change a couple things around, sure. And overall, I would say that they make some corrections that the book made wrong, right? Which I found that was more helpful from a flow perspective, where Lo became a more engageable character, right? Not so much that it was a different character. In fact, I think the actress that played her did a phenomenal job. In fact, I will even go as far as to say that character I was invested in. Right? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but remember, in the movie itself, instead of having her place broken into, they established us in the movie as well, due to that there is a traumatic experience happened to her before the boat itself. She saw someone died in a trunk going into the water. That's fine, but remember, she didn't have the boyfriend as well to going into the boat itself. Right.
Well, so the other thing is, in the movie, they eliminate the boyfriend entirely in the movie, which I think was a good idea.
It was a mistake because I totally did not like that at all, because the boyfriend itself was the anchor.
I mean, okay, I'm sorry. We're kind of getting into this now. Ben comes back and we try to kind of change Ben's character a lot. I think Ben was the most changed character from the book to the movie. And so Ben, it's funny when he gets
more characters got changed too.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree with you. But the funny thing is when he dies, what is it he says? Give me 1 second here. I'm thinking
Run?
He says, no, he's like, get the story out.
Yeah, get the story. Because remember,
I'm like,
in the book,
that was so cheesy. It was like,
yeah, it is. It is super cheesy.
Get the story out. It's
remember, at the book and in the movie itself, the character Ben, it's a photojournalist, right? The one in the book, he's more. Actually, both of them are. The book characters are very, very well established. They didn't really change anything that much in the character itself, but except they killed the character at the movie itself compared to the book. The book was actually stayed alive. It's kind of funny though because Ben and what's his name, Jude, was the only two people. Well, Ben is actually the one who actually contacted Jude and told him this is exactly what's happening. There's something wrong. They're the one who actually started investigating itself, right? And the movie itself is completely different. The ending of the book versus the ending of the movie is way different. We're talking about not like a 30% change. We're talking about like 100% change.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. And actually, that's a part we could really have an interesting conversation about because in the book, when we end it, I actually, my thought was I liked the exchange between the two women, between her and Carrie. That was fine. But then she like sends her like $40,000, and I'm like, why does she need to send her $40,000? But having said
There's
that,
a reason why. There's a reason why.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
In the book itself, remember when Carrie told her go run, there's money in a drawer. When Lo jumped off the ship and swam into land, and she realized, I forgot the wallet with the money in there. So theoretically, Carol, the character Carol, was just giving back the money to her. It was literally giving her the money. That's what it is. It's a very small detail, but that's what it is. Because when I read that part,
maybe I missed
it makes
that.
a lot of sense.
That would make sense if I missed that detail. Okay, that's cool.
You missed that.
I might have missed that. Yeah. So here's the thing. It's like I don't mind that Carrie gets away and so forth. And the way they did in the movie is I have a kid versus in the book where it's we're in love and he wants me instead of her and so forth.
Yeah,
and so on.
Yeah, the way. Okay, let's talk about Carrie. Okay, let's talk about that part. This gets a little confusing here. At the book versus the movie itself, Carrie, the woman in cabin 10, in the book itself, they fell in love. Right, her and the male and the husband, the guy who owns the boat,
Richard,
yeah. And for the movie itself, she was an actress because he was investing in a company that does AI face recognition. She was a model or something like that. She found out who she is. She's exact almost the same feature as his wife, dying wife, and she ending up getting hired by him to play as his dying wife, right? So in the book itself, it's something similar, but she did not meet. They met in the club or something or some bar. That's how they met. He did not hire her. They were together, right? And the whole premise itself as well too is because this guy, the main, Ben, is it Ben? Ben? I can't remember his name now.
Ben who got killed?
Yeah.
Get the story out, man. I'm like, what a terrible line to die on. Get the story out.
I can't remember anymore his name. But that guy that no one likes, the guy that everyone hates, the owner of the boat, he has a wife that's actually heiress to a very like a boating, like a very, very wealthy family, and he was trying to kill she wants to kill her because she found out that she's going to give all her money to the charity or not give everything to him. So the only way they can do this is get her killed, right? So she can keep the money. But this is where the book and the movie sort of aligned a bit, because what happened is at the book itself, he killed his wife and dragged the body into 10. And the other way around, the movie itself, they got caught in cabin 10 when she walked in, and that's where the scuffle is, right? The only thing one thing that's aligned as well too, the wife was thrown overboard. Same thing happened in the book. In the movie, that's where they align. But after that, that's when it gets really tricky, because if you're maybe you agree or disagree in this one. If you read the book versus the movie, this is where it gets really muddy now. Everything somewhat aligns and like spread out again. So many changes, so it gets really confusing.
I mean, let's just talk about the movie for a minute, okay? In the movie, you know, her motivation, Carrie's motivation is different. She has a kid, so forth, so on. It's not really about love. It's about a job. It's about whatever, even if it's a terrible job. And when the moment that Carrie and Lo confront each other, it feels very like a very natural moment where Carrie realizes that Lo knows, and she pushes her and knocks her out, and then has to deal with that. That to me was a much better moment than Lo being in the book, going into a hallway and them sort of trying to gather into a hallway to surprise her, right? It was a much more natural thing. But also in the movie, Carrie's reaction to Lo Bean, she places her in a maintenance area of the engine room, which, for the record, I very much appreciated, because I'm like, she can yell as much as she wants. No one's ever going to hear her because of the noise of the engines. That makes a lot more logical sense than what happened in the book. Having said that, though, also is that in the movie, she's in a lower hatched room where, you know, Carrie can open it, but she also feels bad about this, right? Carrie's emotions about this seem more aligned with it being realistic, right? So either you're in love with Richard in the book, and you're doing all of this for your love and committing all these terrible acts for your love, right? Which is terrible. Or in the movie, where her motivation is her child and understanding that the act she's taking with Carrie is wrong, with Lo is wrong because she's imprisoned her. She's, you know, trying to whatever. And she comes to that humanistic realization that I can't do this, right? I can't do this. In the book, Lo tries to convince her that Richard is going to kill her, right? Which is the same thing that happens in the movie as well. It's just a more natural progression in the movie, I think. Do you agree with that?
I have to...
I
do agree with you, but at the same time, I disagree with you regarding how the flow in the book. I prefer the interaction between Carrie and Lo in the book as well. I like that. I like the feel of she, because Carrie in the book, her interaction with Lo is something similar but less urgent compared to the book, compared to the movie. Because in the book, it's more like, are you going to behave now? And she's using her anxiety pill as a carrot. If you don't behave, I won't give you this. I won't give you your pill. So there's a carrot. It shows Carrie's literally using food and her mental state as she weaponized this so she can behave, right? But both book and the movie itself, Lo, the character, made a decision. Okay, let's have this conversation person to person, right? And that's when both characters sort of in sync a bit, because now they're motivated to help Lo out of the ship and tell the story, right? And in the book, I felt like it's a bit more polished of that conversation compared to the movie. The movie is like she's using Lo's using her kid as the carrot. It's like, hey, get me out of here. I'll help you get out of here as well. I'll make you safe, right? In the book it's different. Get me out of here so I can tell the story, or you're gonna die anyway, right? So just do the right thing. Get me out of here and help me escape. Because remember, in the book itself, she already established she's gonna die no matter what.
I think in the movie that Carrie comes to the realization more by herself than Lo really pushing her to it. And I can see your argument that it makes a little more sense in the book. And we can get to the end of the movie and in the book and say they were very vastly different, which I completely agree with you, they were. And in a way, I have problems with the ending in the movie, because in this situation that Richard gets called out and everybody knows, and his bodyguard or his head of security takes a rifle to his head or whatever, or shoots him. I mean, and here's the thing: if you're a billionaire and you're in a party like that, your head of security is going to have a handgun or something. Like they're going to be freaking armed. I mean,
they don't have they're very strict gun rules there too. But remember, the head of security in the movie is actually the wife's head of security, not his. She works for her. Not the other way. She works for the family, not for the guy.
For the other one. Yeah. Actually, that's a very good point, because that actually gives more credence to what I was saying before about, who's on Anne's side here in regards to doing that. Now, in the movie, yes, there's that ending, the dramatic ending where he gets shot and then she whacks him and so forth. I didn't really care for that ending that much.
I hated that ending, by the way. I really hated that ending.
I mean, it was the way that it happened, not that it happened sort of idea. Like, I would have preferred if Carrie went on the run or outed him or so forth. And then they had that same sort of interaction about, surviving, but not like if Richard and her went away and then later on you find out that she turned the tables on him. That would have been still more interesting, I think, than the movie.
No, I agree. The way the book ended is a little bit, in my opinion, is a lot more satisfying compared to how the movie ended, because the book ended is not the security helping her. It's some stranger helping her to contact Jude. As soon as she contacted Jude, that's when Ben actually helping me try to figure this out. So
actually, you make a valid point.
Yeah, but in the movie itself,
what I mean is
different.
In the book, that actually really annoyed me. She swims to the shore, all that sort of stuff. And then every single person she encounters calls Richard. It's like,
yeah, because remember, she said that I know he's a powerful man. I didn't realize how powerful he is, how influential he is. That she only found out when she went in the book itself. She found out how influential he is when he went to, when she went to shore and ran to a hotel. The hotel did not call the police. They called the ship to let them know that I got someone here with Anne's credit card. Right? She ran. She bumped into a cop, and she realized, oh, this is a cop. Oh my gosh! That's when she started having a realization. How powerful is this guy? So she ran. She hid in a cabin. Same thing in the movie itself. In the movie, she hid in a cabin, but the only difference is she bumped into a farmer or whatever, and she ended up explaining to, "Can I borrow your phone to contact Jude?" That's how literally sort of how they sorted it out.
So is that why you wanted to have Jude in the movie? Is that why you wanted?
Yeah, because Jude and Ben was the only two people theoretically in the book. Actually, Ben is the only person believed in her, but her mental state started playing tricks. Like, you betrayed me. You told everyone everyone that I took pills. You told everyone I have anxiety. He helped establish her mental state to the rest of the crew, right? But this is when it was very important. At the beginning of the book, that she got burglared. This is when her brain, her mental state did not align to what is reality, right? Because remember, there's points that she didn't sleep at all, right? Same thing.
Well, I'm also going to say that their interactions between Carrie and her before they find out who she is was also interesting, because I actually, in the book, I'll give it credit, I really like the mascara thing, where it was this simple, non-invasive moment where they interacted, where it was a natural moment of just two girls helping each other out, whereas the other one was her seeing Ben in the movie and she's just like going into the cabin tent. I'm like, so you're hiding in there, but you didn't lock the door. So there are some problems I have with that, and I think that interaction was better in the book, I think.
Yeah, it's because in super yachts like that, doors don't close. They don't. They have a simple lock, but they can still be opened, right, for security purposes. Remember, in the movie itself, she ending up the captain locked the door in one scene. In the book, the door was locked from the inside. That's why in the movie itself, she accidentally, because when she got out of her room, she saw Ben and another person talking, and she doesn't want to be seen, so she ran to the nearest door, and that door was cabin 10. That's when she saw Carrie the first time. That's why she said, "Oh, there's someone in cabin 10." In the book, it was the opposite. She heard something at the wall. She walked around and knocked on the door. She opened it. That's when she realized there's someone's there.
So here's another question: which do you think had better tension, the book or the movie?
Oh, the book. The movie was great because it has a visual intention to it, but the book itself is a little bit more. It's the book for me personally. I like the book because the tension there, plus the self-doubt as a reader regarding the main character's mental state. In my opinion, that was great. But in the movie itself, the tension is there. But if I feel like if I watched the movie before I read the book, I understand the movie very well regarding all the characters. But reading the book first before watching the movie, they lost a lot of meaning while they're transferring it into the movie itself. That's why
when you say like for example, I look at it as tension, right? Like that moment where she gets in the movie, gets pushed over, goes down into the pool, and the thing starts to close.
That was
and
great.
She's like, that was a great moment. And it was completely made up for the movie. Absolutely completely made up for the movie. But it was an interesting moment that I think connected well to the beginning of the movie where they're talking about like being drowned in the water and all that. It was a great comparison and a connection between those two things. Whereas in the book, nothing that happened in the book, to my mind, connected the robbery in the beginning of the book to anything else that happened in the book. It was a mismatch of moments in the book that tried to push her anxiety up. Whereas in the movie, you always felt her anxiety because she was fighting against this force, and the physicality of being pushed in that pool was, okay, this is real now. Somebody's trying to get rid of her or whatever, In the book, until they had kidnapped her, you didn't really feel that necessarily, right?
No, it's a psychological effect. It's a psychological thing more on the book itself compared to a physical act in the movie, because there was two scenes happen in the movie that sort of triggered something, but triggered to the audience and to the character itself. When she was coming from the spa and after taking a shower, she still says, when she opened the door, it says stop, right? And the push from the pool itself, and everyone's like, well, we didn't see anybody. Even the captain says, like, I didn't see anything. I went back to the bridge, to the wheelhouse, so I didn't see anything. So there was already a doubt was already established regarding who pushed who. Did you jump, or you're trying to get attention? That's where it gets very. That's where the doubt. That's where the doubt started, because when she keeps asking, you didn't see anybody pushed me? It's like, no one pushed you. You probably, even some of the characters, like maybe you just jumped trying to get attention, right? So that's where
I didn't get that sense from the movie, though. I did not get that sense from the movie. I didn't get that sense from the movie in that moment, at least.
Yeah.
And it was anxiety driven, of course,
But her anxiety did not go up, or her anxiety. Not even, I wouldn't call it anxiety, but her anxiety in the movie itself is not as elevated compared to the book. Because again, like we're going back in circles here, because the robbery established that.
This is why I would say to you that the character from the movie was more likable than the character from the book. That was my argument here. You see my point, though. Whereas
I see your point, but at the same time, if you ask me that question right now, do you like which character I like more, the book or the movie? I would say the book more, because feels more realistic than the movie itself, because the way that there was a lot of things that was missed. Yeah, there's a lot of things that was removed that establish a mental state that wasn't there. It wasn't in the movie. That was not elevated. That was the purpose of the book itself. Because that's why I'm kind of like hesitant to say yes, I agree. The movie is better. No. Because the book was missing a lot of things to establish why is she so committed to figure out what's going on. Compared, the motivation for her to solve the mystery was more on the book rather than the movie. The movie, she can literally, it's like, I just didn't hear anything. Oh, no one, everything's accounted for. Okay, cool, I'm going for breakfast. What's your motivation after that? Right? But in the movie, in the book itself, the motivation was like, am I going crazy? Am I not going crazy? I got everyone can say that I'm crazy, but no, I did not. I'm not crazy. And they keep running this back and forth. Some of the characters keep telling her, you didn't hear anything. Stop this. You don't need that. Blah, 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 blah. In the movie itself, there's only a couple of characters trying to push her that route, and everyone else is like very nice about it.
Well, to be fair, I mean it's a movie. They're pushing a narrative. They're doing that whole let's get moving, right? In a movie, you always get that let's get moving kind of thing. And it was only like an hour and a half long or something. It wasn't really a long movie, so it's hard for movies these days to build tension because they're always jumping into the next scene. So that is a decent argument. I still like the movie a lot. I think my like of the movie was more about fixing some of the issues I had with the book, right? And yes, the ending was questionable in the movie, but up to that moment, I would say that the movie was probably better. I'm assuming you're disagreeing at this point.
Okay, how about this? Rate me the book, then the movie. Then I'll give you my conclusion.
Yeah, I'm gonna rate the movie a 4 out of 10. I mean, the book at a 4 out of 10. I'm gonna rate the movie a 7.5 out of 10. And the reason is that the ending in the movie did not achieve what I was hoping for. I was hoping for some. Now, to be fair, I'm judging this based on reading the book and the movie. But I wanted something more tangible at the end of the movie. In the book, the fact that Lo was not necessarily a likable character makes it hard as a reader for me to get behind her. I can understand Ruth's desire to write the character and have anxiety and to have tension there and even to have her doubt herself. The whole purpose of Ruth writing it this way was to have us doubt Lo. That's fine. That's what we can do. But you want to have a likable character at the same time. And I think she went a bit heavy-handed on the anxiety piece in the book. And that's what made the character less likable. It's why I'm giving it such a low score there.
Okay. For me, I will give the book 8 out of 10 and the movie 5 out of 10. Reason why is this. I understand how the character's been driven throughout the whole book itself. I understand what the author is trying to do. And I like that. It gives me what the author did when I was reading it, it gave me doubt that the character itself is genuine or something's happening. It gave me that doubt, the sense of like questioning, right? And I love that part of I love when any book makes me doubt what I'm thinking. Right, it plays with what I'm reading on page versus what my compared to my imagination, and I like that about the book. The character itself in the book was, as you said, it's hard to like that character because there's so many things that's happening, and the reason why is that because you're doubting itself. So I understand all that, and I totally disagree with you, regarding the burglar in the beginning of the book. That scene alone established the mental state of the main character throughout the book itself. Versus the movie itself. The movie itself, if it's a standalone movie, it's great. I'm still going to give it a 5 out of 10, but there was something missing to it now because at this point we read the book before the movie. At the movie itself, the establishment of who she is, of why she's trying to pursue the missing person, is not there. She can literally brush it aside. Well, no one's there, so probably was just drunk. Whatever. I'll just move on. Right? And that in that state is sort of like you're questioning why is she still pushing this without any tangible, without any tangible evidence, right? At least in the book itself, there was a self-doubt. In the movie, there's none. She ending up just pursuing something she doesn't need to pursue. She can literally just go back to bed. It's like, okay, cool, my mistake, right? And everyone said there's no one's there. So there's evidence there that theoretically there's no one staying at cabin 10, but she keeps pushing it, right? The only evidence that she said that in the movie that might be that we shouldn't start questioning is when she went up and talked to Anne before the switch over. That's the only time she established, oh, yeah, there was a thing here. There's something's up. Because in the movie itself, she gave her the speech that she's supposed to say in the foundation event.
It's interesting because when I read through the book, I was thinking a lot about 0 Days and thinking about the character in 0 Days. And she had trauma. She had, Ruth likes mysteries. She likes to write this stuff. And I really liked 0 Days a heck of a lot more than this because of the character that she wrote. And when I say that she went too far with this character in the book, I mean that it seemed like she leaned on the anxiety a little bit too much, and that if she had held back a little bit, which they did in the movie, I think that balances the character out a lot. And I think in my mind, that's what would have given a balance for us to have a likability, because in 0 Days, we really liked the character. She had a mission. She had a goal. She was trying to do something, and we were with her the entire time, and we liked her because of what she was trying to do. And not that we didn't like Lo's character in the book, but sometimes you just were like, okay, girl, get a grip and, go solve the problem, right? And I think she went really far into that. As you even mentioned with Carrie withholding the medication, she focused on the anxiety to an extreme in the book. And I think that's what really took it away from me a bit.
Mine's the opposite. It actually helped drive Lo's character more and more because, again, we keep talking this over and over again. It doesn't matter what book we're talking about. It established some type of mental state. It doesn't matter if it's we're reading Expeditionary Force or if we're reading something else. There's an established mental state of the character. If the character's mental state, I'm like G.I. Joe the whole time, this book is the shortest book ever, right? Because remember, she is a journalist. Doesn't matter in the book. She was a travel journalist, and in the movie she's an investigative journalist. So it's still journalist. Her mental state as a travel journalist is completely different than investigation. If you're using her job to investigate what's happening here, she has to follow the evidence. The only evidence she has in the movie is her conversation with Anne. Right, but in the book itself, there's zero evidence regarding what she saw or heard. She just has to go through: did I hear it or did I not hear it? People kept saying I didn't hear it, but I heard something. I saw physical evidence, but this time I didn't see anything. Someone's cleaning the room.
I think one way or another, we can both say that both the book and the movie has something for everyone. Join us next time for our holiday special where we review 2025 and what's coming up for 2026 on Your Bookmarks Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share a review. We love to hear from you. Send us an email at yourbookmarksinfo@gmail.com. Join us again right here where you left off.